Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another show. My dear brothers and sisters, I am so excited about this show because I have with me a very distinguished young man. He is my friend, my brother, my companion in the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I submit to you, Mr. Louis Farrakhan. How are you, sir?
I'm better. I'm here with you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, brother.
You know, every time I do this, sit and talk with you, I wonder where will this conversation go. I was reminded in Ferguson that it's been at least 40 years, you know, since I've known you, and you just continue to get better. You certainly continue to get younger, and you look great. I think the audience will say you look great.
Thank you.
But the opening of the show, showing parts of your tours around the world, the reception that you receive from people from all walks of life. You and I and many others know at one point it was difficult for you, but you, endurance, longevity, tenacity, all spells you. You know, you're just in a place now that I don't know what I can say, so I just want to sit back and see what you say to that. I mean, help me, because in the opening, I know if it means that to me and the brothers and sisters who listen, man, it has to be overwhelming to know that people attempted to bury you. And you know, what can I say?
Well, first, Brother Munir, it's a great honor to me to be here with you and to lift my voice in honor and deep respect for the work that you have done over these 40 years to make the mission, the name, the word, and the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad remembered on this show and everywhere you went, talking about our teacher. So I have nothing but honor and thanksgiving and praise for the work that Allah has blessed and guided you to do. So being here today is a part of a homecoming.
Yes, sir.
You know, I, being a college student, never graduated, but homecoming was a big time in college life because it brings back the alumni, it brings back the sports heroes, it brings back parents and students who benefited from that college experience. I and we have benefited from this experience being with you on this show so many times over so many years. And now it's especially gratifying as a homecoming that I'm back where we started, in the spirit in which we started, with greater knowledge and experience than when we started. So I'm very honored to be here.
You know, you mentioned guidance, and I've been privileged to have conversations with you when you would talk about, of course, the germination of a seed. Many things the messenger would say to you, and it didn't resonate at that time, but you seek his guidance. And I've been up close enough to see that you don't just talk about these people in the book. You know, you live it. You know, we talked about Jesus and Muhammad a lot, and them being synonymous. In a sense, you bring these things together, and I can see that if you were not getting guidance, then you'd just be talking off the cuff. But you know, different stages. For an example, it seems like it was only yesterday when you were telling me about this 20-year anniversary. But you had talked about you and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad watching Dr. King, and one day he would have a march. I'm very much familiar with Uline Arena. The messenger said he couldn't hardly get respected in his backyard, but you don't know. You know, them in Washington sent out their soldiers to welcome him, and I've been with you lately, and it seems like they sent out their soldiers to welcome you. So what I'm saying, I see that. You don't hold news conferences and say, well, Farrakhan doing this, Farrakhan doing that. So a lot of people don't know what you're doing, and many times because the press has excluded you, the so-called mainstream press. They write about you as this fella the other day talking about you killing white people. I think you know him, Alex, someone. So, you know, help us to understand how we should be viewing this time, you know, along with Minister Farrakhan. Can we walk with you? Help us to understand.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I believe, and you believe, and we believe, was taught by God in person. When he left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after spending 3 years and 4 months with him, he pressed a piece of paper into his hand and he told him, brother, you don't need me anymore. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, oh, yes, I do. And he said, brother, you don't need me anymore. And Elijah Muhammad went to the window of his little house. And as he saw his teacher walking away from him down the street, he was weeping. He did not realize at that time what his teacher had put in him. That when he opened his palm and he looked at the sheet of paper, it was the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Now when those of you who are watching, go and pick up your Bible and look at the 23rd Psalm. That Psalm was telling him, I'm your shepherd. So there's nothing that you could want that you wouldn't be able to achieve as long as you recognize who your shepherd is. And he did the same thing for me. I was with him for 20 years, not up close and personal. I studied his word. I baptized myself in his articles that he wrote in the various newspapers before we had Muhammad Speaks.
Yes.
And then when I was privileged and blessed to be in his company, he would say little things to me. I didn't know what they meant. It was English and I understood it, but it went in.
Yeah.
When he left, when he brought me before the nation, and he said, this man's preaching is a bearing of witness of me. He said, so continue to hear my minister Farrakhan. He goes away. We have an interlude, so to speak, of our brother, son of Elijah Muhammad, who became leader of the Nation of Islam, and took the nation on a course that brought us close to the Islamic world. I loved the steps that he was doing because we are Muslims. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you accept Islam, you accept a brotherhood that's over the entire earth. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would tell us how much the Brotherhood of Islam loved the brothers in the West. Well, it was Imam W.D. Muhammad who started a rapprochement with the Christian community.
Absolutely.
Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, he was the son of a Baptist preacher, and he knew the inside
That's right.
of what goes on in preachers' lives.
That's right.
He didn't like it.
At all.
So he never set up the mosque at the same time as church. Mm-hmm. He set it up in the afternoon. He never had no choir. Oh, no singing.
Yeah.
And he didn't like preachers when they, you know, get the spirit and, well, anyway,
Yeah.
he didn't like that. So he wanted to make us teachers of a new order. I'm going to say this and then you raise your next question.
Right.
But what he gave, his movement was a protest movement against the church, because the church, he felt, was in such submission to the enemy that it came far away from the real teaching of Jesus Christ.
I want to say to the audience, we are streaming live. If you want to, the Minister Farrakhan certainly has a Twitter page, but I want you to, we have to do a little business, I want. Store.finalcall.com if you want any video or tape or DVD, and I tell you some of them that I've been privileged to be up close, you need to buy them. Atlanta, Los Angeles, St. Louis the other night. And digital, you have, this new technology, MP3s, which they tell me I got that in my car, but I don't know about it. Digital, finalcall.com, justiceorelse.com, hashtag that justiceorelse, Louis Farrakhan Twitter, at Louis Farrakhan Twitter, right? Okay, so if they want to get questions to you and your staff, which you have a wonderful staff, and I want to commend these brothers and sisters, but especially the security team. I really want, it's just fantastic. But let me get back to something that makes you so unique, because you're so kind in your delivery about how these things transpired. Everybody was looking for you to become, because you said something the other night, we used the term spokesman in many instances, but as you said, you're a representative. This is not just a spokesman, and you've proven that point. So I'm thankful for that. And I was there, and I saw what you endured, but even during that time, you gave wisdom, which I will show a clip of that if we just had stayed the course, because you gave way, but you did not want the Honorable Elijah Muhammad trampled and overlooked, which many people didn't get that. They lost sight on him. And with you saying that you were the reminder, and I have to tell you, you know, a lot of people don't know exactly what our relationship is, but when you said nobody would destroy the reminder, I believed you wholeheartedly, because I knew that this man had taught us something that nobody else had. The True History of Jesus and the Birth of a Savior are two special books that we produce. Well, we produced it, but I came to you, so you could look at it for the authentic part of it, and you bore me witness, and Sister Tarnetta and Jabril, they also read it. So I was very pleased. And then I heard you the other night talking about Vanguard, holding your position. So I'm thankful to God that there were enough signals sent to me for me to realize that what I had to do. There are a lot of people that come to you, come to the nation, you establish. They have little things that, and I say little things because I've been there, that they want to do. But they somehow expect you to stop what you're doing. And when you tell them, you know, go ahead, brother, you can do this. Go ahead, sister. In his name, they have to go out and establish something. So this is how we get into these little arguments and problems that we have with each other, because people are not privileged to be at the level that they could see the way that you work. I just described about guidance. You convinced me. You said you didn't understand everything you were saying at first, but you took it back to the root of Master Farad Muhammad, what he did for the messenger. What does it take for us, I mean, these Muslims who you really want to help, because you know that we've had problems, and you said yourself, any question that you want to ask me, because you've been reaching out trying to heal us, because we've been sick for a long time, at least that 40 years of 1975 Savior's Day. If you don't mind, I'd just like to take a quick break. It's not really a break, but it'll keep in what I'm saying, then you can respond when I come back. Will you do that?
Sure.
Okay, brothers and sisters, please call your friends, tell them we're streaming live all over the entire world with our dear brother minister, so don't you touch that remote. We shall return. Assalamu alaikum, we're back. I'm so glad you're here because I didn't cry. But you know, let me tell you, but you don't know how that helped me. I memorized that whole talk, and I remember, and I've shown it before, so few people understood that. I mean, it was wisdom, because they'd have to hear the whole thing, you know, the way you laid it out. And that was a comforter for me. And someone asked me the other day, did I go with Wallace? I was up too close to really go, because remember, I saw you. And see, when you see a plight, and I was a witness to the relegation that they were hatching. They're talking about hatching a plan. So what do? I'm an individual, but I was not afraid, you know. So I was not going to go and try to destroy them, but I wasn't going to lay down and go with them either. And you were saying so much that day, but so many of our people just got turned around. There was some suicides. There were people that I loved and I called brother that were just, you know, they were lost. It was a painful time. But you came through all of that. But I know it had to be tough. So in combination with what I asked you before.
Yes, thank you, Brother Munir. As I was saying, Elijah Muhammad put things in my head. That's how you know you're dealing with a master teacher. Mm-hmm. When he can plant a seed in the head of a student, knowing all the time that he's planting the seed, it's not going to come up at that time, but as time and circumstances and events come to play, that word would come up in our minds. I was blessed to be with him at his table when many of his ministers were around him. Mm-hmm. And he said, one day, all of you will leave me. And I remember Brother Hassan from California. Mm-hmm. He spoke up. I didn't say a word. I was paralyzed when he said that all of us would leave him. But Brother Hassan said, all of us, dear Apostle? And he came back with this answer. He said, the few that would be left would be so weak, it would look as though all of you had left me. And he let that sink in, and then he said, but all of you will return. And that was burned into my consciousness, regardless of where we journeyed. And this has been a journey for us, because Imam W.D. Muhammad had a work to perform. And that work was very relevant to the development overall of the universal aspect of his teaching. And so every one of us that went toward what is called Islamic orthodoxy, we learned what they had, what they taught, but we also experienced things that made us think, well, maybe they are not following the prophet as closely as he would have wanted. Otherwise, why should the Quran tell us that Mahdi or a guide is coming if the followers of the prophet had not lost their way? The prophet said, peace be upon him, if you read this Quran and follow my sunnah or example, you will never deviate. Well, when we look at our world of Islam today, that world is in revolt against itself, not because it followed the path of the prophet, but because it deviated from the path. I remember I was in Iran. I'm the first and maybe the last outsider who was invited to speak at the anniversary of the revolution that brought Imam Ayatollah Khomeini to power. And at that time, the president was President Rafsanjani. And he let me speak before 6 million Iranians in the square, and 60 million were watching by television. And as Allah is my witness, they would always say, you know, Bat va Israel, Bat va America, death to Israel, death to America. As I was walking up to meet with the president, to go up on the stage with him, I mean, they were chanting that. I felt a little strange, you know. Somebody saying death to America, and that's where I live. Well, I don't live in Israel, but they were saying death to Israel. So when I got up to speak, as Allah is my witness, I said, your problem is not America. Your problem is not Israel. Your problem is your deviation from the path of the prophet, because if you had stayed on that path, America would not be a problem, neither would Israel be a problem, because you'd be in the position of power that you were in before there was an Israel and before there was an America. Well, anyway, they cheered and I got out of there.
Let me say, Brother Minister, it's so much that I can recall. You know, you when you were brought here from New York, and it was, you know, difficult circumstances. And the reason I want to lay on that for a moment, to show people who have been a part of the Nation of Islam that they really don't have any problem. See, this is a thing now that what we're doing, I know, let me tell you what my obligation is. I feel that if you see there needs to be a 20th year anniversary, you put enough in the tank for me to go with you. I mean, I have conversations, I have business that I do, but I don't think anything is more important than this. So that's why I want to show people what you've come through. They come to your city, You came down for the FOI meeting that they didn't intend for you to come, and you taught that as if that you was so in love with the nation, despite of what they was trying to do for you. You said you were not just interested in a few, but all of us. That's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's work. He don't want to kill us. He want to teach us. And so you are in that footstep. What do you want to say to our brothers and sisters who are struggling? They say, well, I want to help Farrakhan, but I can't do this, I can't do that. Let's eliminate this pettiness. We went to Washington 20 years ago for reconciliation. So now it's justice or else, isn't it? So
that's what it is.
And I mean, so much economically involved. You talked about the elimination of Christmas for these gifts and things like that. So it is about economics. You have critics about spending money. What better way than we can spend on something for ourselves? So, I'd like to be the spokesman for you, but you're here, so help me out.
You're doing quite well, sir.
Yeah, but help me out.
But I want to say to first our Muslim community, Islam is under assault in America.
That's right, absolutely.
Doesn't matter if we are Sunni, Shia. It doesn't matter if we are Hanafi or Hanbali or other Salafi or other schools of thought. The Quran and Islam is a problem. So today, America wants moderate Muslims. And I ask myself the question, what is a moderate Muslim? If we live by this Quran and the example of the Prophet, that's moderate. But to others, it's absolutely revolutionary. We call it following the Quran and the example of the Prophet, or the example of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when you follow that example, you're not moderate. You have to speak against tyranny and injustice wherever you find it. So these weak brothers and sisters who want to go along to get along, then you are not following the Prophet. Because Prophet Muhammad spoke against tyranny and oppression. And if we are truly his followers, how could we go along with our government if our government is imposing tyranny on any segment of the population here or any segment of the population on our planet? So I'm asking Muslims, come on and come with me to Washington. We have a case to put before our government. We are not terrorists. We don't belong to any group that would destroy innocent life for political purposes. We are not ISIL or ISIS. We are Muslims. But ISIL is your baby, America. That is your bastard child. Then if it's your bastard child, deal with your child, because that's what you produce. Al-Qaeda is another one of your bastard children. You made them. So go and correct your children. We that are in America, for the most part, are peaceful Muslims who don't wish harm to any innocent person.
Absolutely.
And we don't bother to be a tyrant over others, but we have to fight with those who fight with us. You can't come to our mosque now with weapons and we just stand there and let you kill us. That's not normal. That's not natural. So for America to say to us that we don't have a right to defend our own religion, to defend our right to our religion, then we can't agree with you.
Now, you know what's in the news now when they speak about Iran. You know, you've always been invited whenever Ahmadinejad, and I've been blessed to be in New York a few times with him. He talked with such civilization, very patient, as you know. I never saw a guy any more patient. But a young black man was saying today there are 6 other countries that are interested in this treaty with America. And of course, American politicians who talk the talk that, you know, you can't trust Iran. I mean, America. I've been blessed to be in a lot of countries. We're not respected anywhere. You know, the only thing I say, whenever I leave here, I'm just wondering what time the plane is going to get me back, even though sometimes you don't expect to come back because people don't care very much about America. And as you said about the Japanese, they're not taking us lightly anymore, saying what you're there for. So the point I'm making, you know that you can't trust America. But the hypocrisy of these people that talk and the softness of America who don't really understand the spin doctors, what do you say to them? Because they allude to the fact, well, Farrakhan is out of control, because you're telling the truth about him. But what they don't know, and what I'm learning, these young people who I thought might have been a little off, they call them rappers and things, they look like they picking up more than the so-called legal minds of our people.
Well, I am out of control.
You are, okay.
I've never been under their control.
I got you.
But I am under the control of the controller.
Yes.
And that's one of his attributes.
Teach.
He's the controller.
Teach.
And I'm happy to be under his control. So when I look out of control to you, it's because my controller is pushing me to tell the truth. That is the thing that American people need.
Right.
The truth, Jesus said, will set you free. So yes, my dear brother, we are doing that which I believe is pleasing to God. Mm-hmm. And you said something before I said these words that triggered something in my mind, and I can't remember, unfortunately.
This is the only thing that
what
you
it
know.
was.
You remember so much, so
But you said you wanted me to talk on something
about the Muslims. See, these, I think that's what I was. But look, this is our show, brother. Tell me. Your history. Well, he's talking your history every time he opens his mouth, but I don't know, brother. I tell you what, maybe I could find something that'll trigger a thought. You want to take a break? We can.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a break and see what we can find, and then we'll think about it. We'll talk right out. This is our show. I mean, we're under control, aren't we? We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm having a great time. I don't know about you, but it is a wonderful thing to be able to have somebody that you can submit to. Some of us stars shine brighter than others, but I'm not angry. I get a little reflection from you. Thank you so much.
A star is a star, and the brightness of the star is the work of the maker of that star. So if one star shines brighter than the other, that star has no right to say, I shine brighter, because he didn't make no shine on himself.
I submit.
Allah made the shine. Oh, I heard something that my father was saying a little while back, and I want to say to all of us, one of the things that we should be terrified of is coming under the chastisement of God. That's why when I said to the people, justice or else, because no prophet of God ever came to the people to teach and to warn where in that warning there was a threat. And I mean, some of us just came through Ramadan. We read the Quran every day, 1/30th of it. So let me remind you of what you've been reading. There was a threat in the time of Noah, in the time of Lot, in the time of Moses, in the time of Abraham, in the time of Jesus. And Muhammad never threatened his people with the wrath of God. He just revealed all of the chastisements that came to the rejectors of the message of the prophet, to let them know that they were in that path. But no destruction came in Egypt like it came to all the prophets that received a prophet. And what I'm saying to us and to the world, man, don't read the Quran like some novel.
Right.
It's a teaching. Every nation has received a messenger. Are you telling me, my dear Muslim brothers and sisters, you live in America and you know the filth and indecency of the American way of life? Do you not know it? Of course you do. You try to keep yourself and your children from that life. But when they fall victim, you call it an honor killing. You are not worthy to kill your children. You should never have brought them here to be a part of this kind of life if eventually they would fall victim to the law of God, and then you call yourself righteous, killing them. Which one of you is holy enough or righteous enough to kill your children for their deviation? Not one. So I'm saying that to say America is a nation that needs a warner. And black people are a people, and the Native Americans are a people that need a messenger and a guide to bring us back to the original path of God. That's why the Indians are over here. They didn't come over here looking for paradise. They left paradise because they broke the law of Islam.
That's right.
What is the law of Islam? It is submission entirely to do the will of God. When they broke that law, they broke the peace, and they were exiled out of Asia into this part, which was a prison for them.
Yes.
Go into jail and live any kind of rebellious life that you want. Allah didn't care nothing about this part of the earth. This was a prison camp for the native people who rebelled. It was a prison camp for the white race that is a rebellious one. It was a jailhouse for the tribe of Shabazz that rebelled 50,000 years ago. So today, the God of mercy has allowed us to come back after a 50,000-year rebellion, and is now offering the native Indian a chance to come back after 16,000 years of rebellion.
You know,
so I'm saying that to say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about his sons and Brother Malcolm, and he was talking about hypocrisy.
That's right.
When you say out of your mouth
What you don't believe.
what you don't believe,
Right.
and then fight what you said you did believe, and become an enemy to that, that he told us was hypocrisy.
That's right.
And he said that his teacher said, leave them alone. We'll get them all together, and I will chastise them. The Quran says chastisement of God is something to be afraid of. And I'm saying to us, so-called Muslims, whether you are orthodox or unorthodox, whether you're part of the Nation of Islam or not, how can you escape the wrath of God when you have known the truth and wouldn't even share it with your neighbor, with your family, to give them a chance to either accept it or reject it. You cannot say they're disbelievers until you give them a chance to believe or to reject belief. But if you never offer them the truth that you have been offered, then you are a devil yourself, because God has come to give us the truth that we might be free from the wicked life that Satan imposed on us. So we got a problem here as so-called followers of the prophet. You sitting in America, you go to work, you make money, but you will not do dawah work. You will not call your neighbor to the truth. You allow the media to tell them what Islam is when you have that responsibility yourself. So your hypocrisy is about to get us into chastisement. So don't any of you that go to the mosque think that you can escape the chastisement of God when you walk by your brother every day and will not share with them what Elijah Muhammad has shared with us.
Let me say, Brother Minister,
Excuse me.
In this segment, right on, as they say. Look, we only have a few minutes in this segment, and I don't want to be guilty of not giving you the opportunity to say everything you want to say. In fact, I'm not taking any calls right this minute, but what I want to say to you, you started off by declaring that we believe that God is a man who taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, those of us here in this room, and we believe it, and whoever else who's listening to us. But there are people who use the term, which in my opinion should have been eliminated by now. This is a cartoonish religion. This is a way of life that we've submitted to. Those that dispute after knowledge has come to them. We declared that God was a man. We came into the Nation of Islam with that belief. Are you concerned with the struggling Muslims who are under chastisement, but they use that to critique the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? I can go along with Minister Farrakhan, but he keep bringing back that God is a man. I just can't take this. This is some of the people that you even taught in New York who have become imams. Now,
well, let me help with this.
Please.
You know, every man is finite.
Mm-hmm.
None of us in this flesh body can live forever.
Right.
So Allah created us in pairs and gave man a sperm and gave woman an egg so that man can continue uninterrupted from the beginning to infinity.
Yes.
So when we say that a man appeared that was born February 26, 1877, certainly that man did not create the heavens and the earth.
Right.
He didn't create himself. He's a product of the originator.
That's right.
But he came to us. Who can deny that a master came? Who can deny that a man came among us and gave us wisdom to reverse what white folk had done to destroy us totally and completely? Prophet Muhammad was up in a cave. God didn't come to him personally. He came to him through a man.
Teach.
Jibreel came and said, read. He never said he was the messenger of Jibreel. He said he was the messenger of Allah because Jibreel was the one that brought the message.
Right.
Master Farrakhan Muhammad brought us a message that saved our lives and delivered us and put us in the vanguard position over Muslims all over the world.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You are not in no vanguard position. You are dying every day from your rebellion against Allah and His Prophet Muhammad, and you have taken this Quran and put it behind your back. You got a hell of a nerve telling us that our man that came didn't come to us, that was not God visiting us. Don't you know, beloved, if I come to your house and bring you wisdom that brings you out of your condition, you have a right to say, God visited me. Not that I am God, but I am bringing you a message that delivered you, and that message is from God.
We're going to have to make a decision.
I'm sorry, I have to go now.
Let me tell you something. You leaving me?
No.
Okay.
Stay a few more minutes.
Okay, let me tell you, we're going to have to make a decision. But let me just say, brothers and sisters, go ahead and get your final call, because the minister is warning the rap stars they're being targeted. And, you know, every time he gets a friend, they want to stop these young people. They have a lot of money sometimes, and they want to help, and they don't want nothing coming to the minister financially. And let me say this before we go, because I don't think people really understand this. You know, we can be Negroes. We see someone living well or look good. We think we giving them all the money. But I just think people need to know that you don't get honorariums from churches. Nobody's paying your way. You pay your staff's way, and you go to these places to preach and teach. Now, the 20-year anniversary is going to need some help, you know, in this. And we say,
I can't pay that.
Yeah, you pay for a few, but we can't take the world. I certainly don't mind paying my way here and there. I'd like to get around out in America and see this beautiful place.
I really thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Because all of us have a share.
Yeah.
We put up the money, most of it, for the Million Man March.
Yes, you did.
Michael Jackson gave a $100,000 donation.
And they wanted to punish him.
I asked him to sing. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. But his advisors didn't want him to come.
Yeah.
Because Farrakhan was carrying the day. Johnny Cochran showed up on NBC.
And CNN.
And Tim Russert made him think that I call Jews bloodsuckers. They didn't tell the whole truth. I said anybody that comes in our community, takes money out of our community and leaves nothing in our community is a bloodsucker of our community. I don't care what your color is. Yes. You have to give back to that which gives to you. Not Chinese, our Korean brothers and sisters, they come, they give you your nails, they give you your hair, and they take that money, they don't put it in a black bank in the black community, they take it back to where they live. That's a bloodsucker. You got Arabs that come on every corner. Those are my Palestinian family, my brothers in Islam, but they will sell pork to my people, alcohol, even drug paraphernalia, and then mistreat and take advantage of our women. That is not a brotherly thing to do. You make my job harder. That's a bloodsucker of the poor. Take it or let it alone.
Brothers and sisters, I know we're going to make a transition just for a moment, and we're going to have a drink of water, and we'll be back soon, I hope. So thank you for watching, and there's so many of you, but still call your friends. We'll be right back for a few moments with Minister Louis Farrakhan. Assalamu alaikum. We are back, and brothers and sisters, we're continuing our conversation. This is the thing, our show is an hour, you know that, and the minister has consented to stay a few minutes more. But I want him to tell you how you can help in the 20th year anniversary, 10-10-15. And all of you, especially you, those of you who are philanthropic in nature, please help. And I know you can do it. So what do you suggest?
I would say this. Every march that our people have had, they always had Jewish philanthropists and Gentiles pay the way. So when people pay the way, they can tell you who can speak and who can't, who can come and who can't. The last two big celebrations that came, that our president was the speaker. Not one time did they offer to invite me. None of our leaders could even stand up and say, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, Farrakhan is one of us. What have I done to you all? And you know that the people listen to me, but you won't invite me, because those who pay for you to speak tell you who can speak. And that's why you're not qualified to lead our people another day, because you're bought and paid for by the enemy of our people. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Right.
And some of you are preachers
Right.
talking about resist the devil and he will flee from you. Why don't you try it and see if it will happen? You don't know who the devil is after he been giving you hell for 450 years? Resist him. Don't bow down and back down because you're scared to death of your own shadow when the enemy shows up. You are not God's people. You're not a good Christian. You're a good punk.
Now,
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Brother,
Stand up like a man.
Brother Minister, let me ask you this, because you're not just speaking off the cuff. A very popular man that we've known, I think Mayor Johnny Ford, spoke to you about a 50th-year anniversary, and he raised your name and
That's
wanted
correct.
the people to invite you. And we all know Johnny. We liked him, and he was bold enough to do it, and they thought he was crazy.
They didn't say he was crazy, but they treated him like he said nothing.
Yeah, ignore
Mark
it.
Morial said,
Urban League.
according to Johnny Ford, he said, thank you for your passion. You all know what you're doing. You know that because President Obama was speaking, you didn't want me there. In Selma, Alabama, you that put it on, you never gave me a formal invitation. I got word of mouth through the snake vine. I'm sorry, the grapevine. That you wanted the minister to come. You know you don't want me when you know I'm going to tell the truth. So it's all right. But this is a new day now.
Are you going to invite?
Hell no.
Oh. No, so you going to invite? I'm invited on that. Okay, but now let me say this though. This is something that needs to be said though. All these so-called leaders and who've been speaking for our people now, they're hearing rumblings because everybody got to be excited. Now, for a man who have not been within the mainstream press, but this word is heating up, man, that these people are listening to Farrakhan from all over now, West Coast, East Coast, the South. I mean, you know, you're crisscrossing America. And I remember it took a couple of years on the Million Man March. But now, how long have you been pushing this 20th year anniversary? I mean, it hadn't been that long.
No. But social media is a great tool. It created revolution in Egypt.
Yeah.
And it creates revolution, and it's saying that I would say the paid for media, the controlled media is losing its power. They're not what they used to be. Look at what they're doing now. Here's Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
A joke.
Donald Trump, but he's getting support
Yes.
because all the rest of these people, when they say, I want to be president, they're telling you they're throwing their hat in the ring with no money. So they got to go to people with money
Yeah.
to back them. And at the same time that they ask for money, here comes the string of a puppet maker and a puppeteer. You understand what
yes.
I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You buy, you get bought for favor. But Donald Trump said, oh, I got over $10 billion.
Yeah.
I don't need nobody's money. Don't you know the American people know that that's a man, whether he sound crazy to you or not, he's his own crazy man.
Right. And he buying what he wants. Buying.
And you can trust him because he's not bought or paid for. That's who you getting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
See, Obama, when he came, he pulled a coup if he walked behind it. Because when social media took Obama and Obama began to ask for $5, $10, $20, $50, he raised $1 billion almost by himself. Yeah. He didn't need to bow down to none of the money people because the people were with him. So when you know you got the people with you, what the hell are you bowing down for? The people are the power, not that says it's the power. Mm-hmm. And when I have the people with me, you will see I will give orders, mm-hmm. and they will carry it out because I have that kind of support.
Now, what was your thoughts when Obama, of course, was used at the end? Hillary Clinton pressed him and pushed him to the brink of denouncing you.
Well, her day has come.
Yeah.
She pushed him, and if he didn't denounce me, he wouldn't be president today.
Right.
Because Mr. Friedman of the Washington Post or the New York Times, all of them, they were watching to see, because I was the litmus test. If you can condemn Farrakhan, you'll have our vote. It was the same in New York City with David Dinkins.
Yeah, yeah.
Dinkins wanted the Jewish support, so he went on TV saying every evil thing he could say about Farrakhan. If I had come into New York, I could have tore that man a new behind. But I knew that our people wanted a black mayor in Washington, in New York, so I left him alone.
Yeah.
And I came to New York later. He was running for his second term, and we were about to hire Yankee Stadium. And the Negro leaders came to me and said, Farrakhan, if you would postpone your coming now. We're trying to get Dave Dinkins reelected. If you would postpone your coming, we will back you in your next engagement here. I said, really? I said, don't you know if I filled up, by the grace of God, Yankee Stadium, you could come and talk to the people about Mr. Dinkins and put all 60,000 of them behind him. They didn't care what I said. So wait a minute.
Okay,
I told them, all right, brother, I won't come. And when I decided to come, the only one of those New York leaders that showed up was the Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me tell you, Sharpton, you may not like him, but I'm telling you, that's a man, whenever he's given me his word, he carried that word out. He's not a bad man. He's the door to Obama.
Right, yeah.
And those of you who are upset because he's the doorman, you don't want to go in. Respect the doorman, and he'll let you in. But today, I have to say this.
Yeah.
All of you know what you've done to me.
Mhm.
All of you know what you say behind the door to your followers concerning me. But it's my day now.
That's right.
Be careful. Because the very people that I'm teaching that follow you will turn on you because they know that I'm a sincere man who is unafraid of this enemy. I will speak the truth and die on it to see our people free. What about you?
Yes, sir.
So you
So if you want to help me
yeah.
and give me not the freedom to speak, because I'll take that regardless. But I want you to help me put on a day where it's bigger than the day, but it is about the day before, the day of, but most importantly, the day after. I'm going to put a program before Congress. I'll talk about that later on. It's a program to deliver us from the tyranny of our open enemy. I'm not begging nobody to back me in that. I already have the backing of God and his Christ. You will soon see. I'm not a madman, and I'm not crazy. Try me and see. So if you want to help me, a man that won't punk out on you,
That's right.
that can't be bought.
Right.
The Jewish people that don't like me, you don't have a ladder tall enough to get you up to the heaven where my blessings come from. So you're going to have to sit on the sideline and watch. And if you make the mistake, I'm warning you and the government, if you make a mistake, thinking that you can do to me and us as you've done to others, I welcome you. Come on with it. And I'll show you the power of a God that will take you out and take your country from you and give it to whom he pleases. Go to justiceorelse.com and give $5, $10, $1, $20, $100. I'm going to report to you every nickel, every dime, every dollar. We'll account for it. No thieves, no robbers here, just warriors for God and the liberation of our people. I thank you, Brother Munir, for inviting me. I never know what I'm going to say. You trigger so much stuff.
But you've done great. I have to say, I love your passion about, especially Mayor Dinkin and others. I'll just say this. You don't need any more flowers, but I think people like Mayor Dinkin should have understood what Harold Washington did. You did a lot for him, and he never denounced you. I love Harold Washington
And
for
guess
that.
what?
What?
Mayor Dinkins lost the election.
That's right.
By the same number of people that would have been in Yankee Stadium,
Isn't that so?
60,000 votes.
People never give you credit for that, but during that preaching that you were doing, you preached for Harold Washington in the final call. During the final call, you were there.
He came to my home.
Yeah.
We sat down.
Yeah.
We talked.
But you know, you don't have to let people know everything, do you? I mean,
Not necessary, except when it's time.
Yeah.
It must be time now
Yeah.
for me to let people know who betrayed us.
Go ahead. And that's why I want to ask you on this. You used the term some rats and roaches and things that I thought I was going to use that and play that. I thought it was appropriate, but you know, I said, well, maybe not. But there are some people that you want to know. It won't be this easy this time because people condemn the Million Man March.
No, it's not going to be at all like that.
It's not, all right.
When the Million Man March showed up, it was like rats and cockroaches coming out of the dark people that never offered us a kind word, showed up on that day and they got a chance to speak. I kept putting my speech back all the way till after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, till the people cried out, enough is enough. Bring on Farrakhan. All the rest of you niggas, shut up. Because they didn't say it quite that rough.
Yes, they did.
But yes, they did.
Yes, they did. They said it.
And I let anybody who wanted to speak that was a worker for black people. But we ain't got time for that today. You don't want to be there, that's fine. Stay home. Try and see if you can keep your people home.
Yeah.
Because your people will trample you today because they're tired of the crap that the government is putting on us. We're tired of police brutality and mob attacks. You, the elders, be careful, because it is written that God gave the elders of Israel 40 years and they died out in the wilderness, and he took their children. Dr. King was a warrior and a revolutionary and one of our greatest leaders, and I will represent him today from the grave. He's bigger than most of you that are still alive on top the ground. You should have followed in his footsteps when he passed. You that said you love him, he was talking land. He was talking redistributing of pain. He was talking economic development. He was talking the right talk. And you allowed the enemy to buy you off and give you political positions, and you haven't done a damn thing for our people, no matter what high office they have given you. Don't you think it's time that we pull out from madness and let's set up a nation, a government of our own? This one don't work for us. But we'll give you one final try.
Yeah, I'm gonna
or else.
Give me one point I want to say to you, because I don't want to forget this. Dr. King, people talk about him as if they love him with a passion. You have done more in these last months or last year. I think it started Savior's Day, when you were illuminating all the important things that these people have said, showing they were evolving. Now, your leader and teacher and my leader and teacher held his position, and you were benefiting from all of that study. Now you say it's time, but you've been kind because of history. You're writing something about these people now, things that I certainly didn't know about what Dr. King or Booker T. Washington or any of them. All I knew, I was from Alabama, and the messenger told me anytime a man don't want their money, you had to kill him quick. He had discovered the peanuts, so my history in Alabama was not that great with George Washington Carver. But you found some good things that some of these people were trying to do. And I just think that's remarkable, which makes you to be able to speak on behalf of all of our people like that.
George Washington Carver showed us the genius of our people, even from a slave mentality. Mm-hmm. I can't fault a slave for being a slave. That's your mentality. You trained to work for your slave master. You developed something from the peanut. You developed something from the yam that we can benefit from today as a free people. Mm-hmm. Well, you say he was free. Hell no. These people are not free today. They work for the same master that the slaves work for. Only today they can drive a BMW, a Cadillac, live in a fine home in a nice neighborhood, but still a rich slave. When are we going to act like free people? Martin Luther King, I have to say this in my conclusion, man, because I'm too full and I'm so passionate now. You know, scare myself sometime. When I finish like this, I go home and pray and I cry because I can't help myself. You ask me a question, I ain't got no time to pussyfoot around with the truth. I don't have no time to be a diplomat and become politically correct. I don't give a damn about none of that. I'm going to speak truth, straight truth, with the passion of a heart that believes, whether you like it or not. Now, Martin Luther King, I loved him before he was assassinated. And I cried when my brother was cut down by an assassin's bullet. I'm a follower of Elijah Muhammad. I did not believe in nonviolence as a methodology, but yet I do believe in nonviolence. But I know that nonviolence in the face of the violent enemy is suicide. Now, if you want to just die, then go ahead, help yourself. But if you're a real man and a real woman, this life is what God gave us. That's all we got. And if you are not willing to fight to preserve and protect and maintain this life and stop anyone who's trying to take it from you, even if you have to take their lives in the process, then you're not even worthy to have the life that you have. This is a gift from God, and we are right to defend it with our lives. So when we die, why should they go and eat a burger?
Yeah.
They should die too. So the funerals on both sides. We cry, you cry. We die, you die. Then in the end, we'll sit down at a common table like intelligent people who are tired of burying our loved ones, and we'll say, can we make a deal? It's a time for a divorce now, and a settlement. We can't get along with you, and there ain't no BS that you're going to hand us to make us believe that in the next generation, this is going to be a better people. The hell they will. We are 50 years from Dr. King, and they are worse today than they were when Doc was here. They hit us with cattle prods and billy sticks and whatnot. But today they're killing us outright. No, they're worse today than they were. So we got to protect this life. We're not aggressive. We don't bother nobody. Don't ever be the aggressor. But if anybody come, tell them like they tell you. When I saw you coming, I saw the history of what you do. And I became afraid for my life. And I stood my ground. And if you lose yours, I'm sorry. I was just afraid. Ain't that what you say when you kill us? A big burly Negro, Michael Brown Jr., you was afraid of him when you and he were the same size, but your messed up vision is that you saw a big burly young black man. And that's why you shoot us 8, 9, 10 times when one time, if you're trained right, would be enough. But you a murderer. But I'm here to tell you, those who live by the sword will die by the same sword. And you in the black community that are killing our people, I'm warning you in the name of the God and his messenger Messiah that have raised me and taught me that you are headed for the chastisement of Allah. If you don't stop killing each other, then God is going to send the white man to kill you and inspire it. He's already inspired, you know. He don't need much to kill a black man. So if you keep this foolishness up, God is going to turn him loose, as it's written in the scripture. Those who would not obey Moses and Aaron, they were bitten by fiery serpents. It only means angry white people.
Brother,
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime.
Oh,
anytime.
brother Munir.
You know, anytime you want, man. You say,
Thank you.
I want to beat you to the punch next time again, okay?
Send your nickels, dimes, dollars to Justice or Else.
Please help.
.com.
That's right, brothers and sisters. Let me say, as we go to store.finalcall.com, 866-602-1230, extension 200. Latest DVDs, CDs, MP3s, digital.finalcall.com, justiceorelse.com, hashtag, well, I'm getting good at this, or else, Louis at Louis Farrakhan Twitter. Brothers and sisters, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed it. Go out and buy your Final Call. The brothers on the streets, they need your support. And I'm forever indebted. I'll see you soon.
sir.
I'll see you soon. There's
Inshallah.
nothing else that we're going to talk about. Brothers and sisters, I don't even know how to close on this. Why don't you take it and close on the house? Please, this is your show.
Well, the best way to close
Please.
is to say words of thanks, words of gratitude for my brother, for his staff that has kept him on this television for 20 years or more.
21, yes.
21 years. And I thank him, and I thank you, and I thank the audience. And I hope that I have not frightened you, but I'm so passionate now because the end is upon us. And if you really know anything about your Bible, you should know by the weather that the God of justice is coming down with the force of nature to break the power of the tyrants that have mistreated and oppressed us. I represent that God. And when I say justice or else, there's something for us to do. I forgot to say it.
What else?
You know what? Martin Luther King said, redistribute the pain by economic withdrawal. Now,
Right.
Christmas is coming right after the anniversary of the Million Man March.
Right on.
May I read? Let me
Yeah,
come forward a
read.
minute. Look here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm
Look here.
excited too. Come on.
Brothers and sisters, look. Look at how much money you spend on your Christmas. You don't have it. You got a credit card. You max it out. Then you struggle for a whole year to pay for Christmas. But tell me, how do you celebrate the birth of Jesus, the Christ, a redeemer, a savior, and a reconciler of man with God? You buy more liquor on Christmas than any other time of the year. You allow the big fat Caucasian with the north from the North Pole to kick Jesus to the curb. Jesus had 12 disciples, one of whom was a devil. And he Santa got 12 reindeer. And Rudolph, the one with the red nose.
Come on.
And you, as a Christian, celebrate Christmas like heathens and pagans did. Open your Bible to the 10th chapter of Jeremiah, where God is telling you not to follow the way of the heathen, for they cut down a tree in the forest, bring it in where you live, and nail it down, and deck it with silver and gold. That's what you do. You're not worshiping the Son of the living God. You are a sun worshiper that Constantine, when he became a Christian, he married paganism into Christianity. You don't even have the real teaching of Jesus the Christ. That's why when I come to your church, your own people will tell you, you don't teach Jesus like Farrakhan. And I teach Jesus because I know him. Come out of this foolish way of celebrating his birth. Make Christmas, even though he really wasn't born on that day. But if you believe so, then act by him better. On that day, gather your family, not with no false show of gifts that makes the economy of America stronger. Sit down with your family around a table, cook a decent meal, and talk about Christ. Talk about the good that he brought into the world. Talk about what he's done to redeem human beings and reconcile every man to God and to make gods out of every human being that believes in him. Teach your children how to love one another. That's the gift of Christmas. Show love. Come out in the community, and when you say Merry Christmas, say it with love for your neighbor as you love yourself. And I guarantee you that the ghetto will be a new place the day after Christmas, and white folk will be going to the bank saying oh, 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 rather than ho, 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 because the money ain't going to be there if we don't put it there to keep this economy afloat. Let's redistribute the pain. Thank you, Dr. King, for teaching us how to redistribute the pain, and I think we should really redistribute it.
My dear brothers and sisters, Muhammad and friends, remember every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m., and it repeats on Monday, 2:30. This show will be up for you to look at it in its entirety, and we'll put together whatever needs to be put together on the second part. Thank you all. All of you wanted to call. I hope the minister answered all your questions, and I'm sure if you go to the store.Farrakhan, you'll find out where you'll be speaking, right? We're going to be in Memphis soon, I trust.
I'll be in Memphis. I'll be in Florida. Inshallah, soon I'll be in Cleveland, Detroit, Milwaukee.
We got a lot of work to do.
One, I'm going to
South Carolina.
Hold that for a minute.
Okay, we'll hold that.
Yeah, we'll hold that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think I should show up in Charleston to pay my respect to my beautiful family of wonderful, wonderful Christian believers who were slaughtered by a snake that they let in to be partaker of their love, their goodness, their love of God and his Christ.
Yes,
and after sitting with them, feeling the love and joy in their hearts and their kindness toward a stranger, he pulled out his weapon, shot them down in cold blood, then reloaded, then shot some more, then reloaded again. I say, brothers and sisters, by the time he reloaded the first time, we should have been on him like the white that's on his skin. See, but you don't think like that's what you should do. You don't think you should fight and kill those who are trying to kill you. Well, let them come to the mosque then.
Yeah.
We'll show you what to do. In fact, he wouldn't get in with a gun because we search everybody that come in our house. And all my Christian family, you should start searching people. Let us show you how to do it. We need to make men out of the men in the church and make you truly soldiers for Jesus Christ. If you talk about Christian soldiers and you don't know how to soldier, then you need to call us. We'll be there to help you in every way we can to make every Christian man and Christian woman a warrior for righteousness. May God bless you all, and my brother, thank you for allowing me this privilege. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for letting me know what love, brotherhood, and friendship is all about. Thank you so much. I mean that. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, there you have it. I got to come back and put something together to close it out, but I'll work it out. Just stay with me. Assalamu alaikum.